Seller financing. How much does it cost to take over a mortgage? That's a really good question. I'm going to answer that exactly here, but I want to put the disclaimer out there that I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a refugee that came to America, and I started buying houses through seller financing in the last crash. And I'm going to share with you my experiences with this. Now, how much does it cost to take over a house payment, or how much does it cost to transfer a mortgage to a seller? Well, first of all, it can vary. Okay, for example, let me give you a couple of scenarios. I could market to and find a motivated seller, because only motivated sellers are willing to transfer or allow seller financing. And the seller can be behind 2 payments. And I'm willing to pay, let's say there are 2 payments behind, and I'm willing to pay their closing. So now my cost of doing this transaction is 2 months in the arrears and the closing cost and next month payment. Okay, so that's one scenario. Now, I might do the same exact marketing, and I might find an emotionally motivated seller, which just means that they're not financially motivated, just emotionally motivated. And maybe the seller's not behind at all, right? And they just don't live in the house anymore. It's a vacation home and they can't afford it anymore, but they're not behind in their payments. So in that situation, all I have to do is negotiate who pays the closing costs, because apparently the seller has money. I could have them pay for it, or I could pay for it. And maybe the seller wants some money, depends on the equity they have. Maybe I negotiate that I don't give them any money. So I could have a situation where I do a mortgage transfer and I don't pay any money because the house payments are current. I don't pay them any money for their equity. Maybe they have equity, maybe they don't, but I negotiate that I don't pay them, so I don't have to pay anything besides next month payments. Another example is that I do a deal, I do marketing, I find a motivated seller, and the seller is, has equity. They're not behind in their payments, and I buy the house and I have positive equity, and I'm willing to maybe give them some of the money, right? So there's many different options out there that can happen. You can buy a house. I can buy a house and not really pay for anything because the house is current, the house doesn't need any repairs. I can buy houses where I negotiate where the seller pays me a monthly payment. I know I've done a deal like that on a vacation home where I bought a house from a real estate investor. I put it under contract, I should say, and I negotiated where they pay me $500 a month, and their mortgage was $1,500, and I was going to pay $1,000. They were going to pay $500 for the next, I can't remember, for the next till I retired the loan. Okay, so there's all kinds of possibilities for seller financing. It all depends on the seller's financial situation and their motivation level. Okay, so now I also want to talk about that when we talk about transfer the title. There's a formal way to transfer, which is called assumption, and usually most loans today are not assumable. Because of the 1980s, people were transferring their mortgages and assuming other people's mortgages, so the bankers put a clause in the deed of trust called due on sale clause. Now, and there's an informal way of buying a house with the seller. You create a new note, and you create a deed of trust, a new deed of trust, and the seller becomes basically my private bank. Okay, that's informal because the bank, no one ever calls the bank and discloses that because the banks don't allow it. Now, that happens still. This types of transaction happens a lot, and that's why if you look at a HUD 1, line 203 on the seller side and 503 on the buyer side, it says subject to existing mortgage, because these types of transactions happen, but they're not the traditional way of doing deals. Okay, they're not the traditional way of doing deals, so most people don't know about it. Just like myself, I didn't know about it till the last crash, when I tried to get in real estate investing. I had cash on the side, I had good credit, I had a business for 6 years debt free, but the banks wouldn't lend me money to buy real estate because the market was melting down. They had just lended money to all these people that couldn't afford it, didn't have papers to show their income, so they were being very, very stingy with lending. And that's why I had to start negotiating with sellers direct and buying homes, because I had some cash on the side, and sellers were willing to just deed me the property while me just taking over their payment. So how much can it cost? It can cost anywhere from $0. It can cost where the seller pays you some money every month, or it could be where a situation where I have to pay for the arrears, where that means the seller's behind a couple of months. I might have to pay for some of the rehab. I might have to pay some of the back taxes. You know, it all depends on the situation. Now, the shittier the deal, I don't do those kind of deals where I have to come up with a lot of money out of my pocket, because then I can just, you know, put that money into just getting a traditional loan, and I don't even like getting a traditional loan. So, you know, if I have to put 10-20% down, then I'll probably not going to do the deal unless I am getting significant equity. When I buy these houses subject to, I don't really offer equity cash out. All I offer is making their back payments or if they're tax payments, but you know, sometimes I will, but again, I'm not a retail buyer. You know, I'm an investor. I want to buy houses for cash, but sometimes I buy houses by taking over sellers' payments through seller financing. Okay, so anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions regarding real estate, I have tons of free stuff at myrealestatedojo.com. I got a free training video blogs there, over 1,000 videos, how to find sellers, how to negotiate. If you want to work with me direct, then go to myrealestatedojo.com. I got a lot of self-help courses, like my Ninja phone script, like so many other stuff out there. Or get into the new flip, where we'll work with you in our Facebook groups, and we'll provide you coaching to make sure you win as long as you take action. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Click the like button. Don't take no for an answer. Always remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and twice as beautiful as you ever imagined. Peace.
Real quick, download my free book, Real Estate Investing for Beginners, the ultimate starter guide at myrealestatedojo.com, where I teach you how to find motivated sellers, buy their homes at a deep discount, and then have the seller become your own private bank. Subject to, get it now. One more thing, if you're looking for private one-on-one help when it comes to real estate investing, then consider joining my academy, where you sit down with me one-on-one. 2, you get monthly coaching. 3, you get access to my best-selling courses. 4, you get access to my video library, and then the list goes on, for just $97 a month. Join me now at mrnofluff.com. Lastly, the best 6-figure side hustle, bicycle flipping. Want to see how? Here's a behind-the-scene video how I did it. Go to thebestsidehustle.mrnofluff.com. Now let's get back to the content.